Hello students, in this video I will be giving you a brief introduction of index number. Index number is a statistical tool which is used to measure changes in variables like price or quantity. Basically, index number is based on a common formula which says value of price or quantity in current year divided by its value in base year multiplied with 100. In all the methods, this formula is twisted to get the desired result. So it is very necessary to learn this formula. Now, coming to the methods, broadly index number is categorized as unweighted or weighted. In the case of unweighted, either price or quantity is given, whereas in weighted, both price as well as quantity is given for the calculation. In the case of unweighted, we have simple aggregate method and simple average of price relative method. In the case of weighted, also we have weighted aggregate, in which there are three methods: Laspeyres, Paasche and value. And similarly we have weighted average of price relative. I will be starting with unweighted. As I told you, in unweighted we have simple aggregate and simple average of price relative. In the case of simple aggregate, we simply total all values in the current year, divide it with sum of all values in the base year, multiply with 100. In the case of simple average of price relative, we calculate price relative for each commodity, which is nothing but index number of each commodity. That is, for each commodity we take price in the current year, divide with price in the base year, multiply with 100. This is price relative of individual commodity. We sum all the price relatives and divide by the number of commodities. So basically in average we total everything and then divide, and here we first calculate index number of each commodity and then divide with the number of commodities. I will show you with the help of an example. As you can see here, simple aggregate. We total all the prices in current year, all the prices in base year, apply in the formula sum of price in current upon sum of price in base into 100, and we get the index number. In the case of simple average of price relative, I calculate price relative for each commodity, that is price of this commodity in current year upon base year into 100. This is index number of each commodity, which is known as price relative. I add all the price relatives and then divide by the number of commodities. So these are the two index number under the unweighted category. Now in the weighted category also we have weighted aggregate and weighted average. Now under the weighted aggregate we have three methods, that is Laspeyres, Paasche and value index. Now this formula is derived from the simple aggregate only. In the simple aggregate we take sum total of price in current year, divide by sum total of price in base year and multiply with 100. But here we cannot take only prices, as we are going to multiply price with weight, which is quantity. Now the question arises, this should be the base year quantity or the current year quantity. So different statisticians gave different answers. According to Laspierre, the weight should be the base year quantity. According to Pastures, the weight should be the current year quantity. And according to the value index, we multiply base year with base year and current year with current year. So these are the three methods that we have to do in the weighted aggregate price index. I will show you an example of Laspierre's index in which we are being given with price of base year, price of current year, similarly quantity of base and quantity of current. Now here simply I am not adding price of current year, neither I am adding price of base year. First I am multiplying them with the weight. So I am multiplying price of current year with the weight, which is quantity of base year, similarly for good Y. Now I am multiplying price of base year with the weight, which is quantity of base year only. So here I got the total of P1Q0 and P0Q0. I will divide P1Q0 by sum of P0Q0 and multiply with 100. So you can see that in the case of simple aggregate, we simply divide sum of prices in current with prices in base year. But here we are multiplying those prices with their respective weight. In the case of Laspierre index, respective weight is quantity of base year. In the case of Pastures, it will be the quantity of current year. In the value, it will be the respective quantity. Now, coming to the weighted aggregate. Here also, we will find the price relative of each commodity, and then we are going to multiply it with the weight. Weight is either given, or if it is not given, then it is taken as P0 Q0, and then we, instead of dividing with the number of commodities, we divide it with the weight. Now it's similar to the simple average, but the only thing is we are multiplying the price relative with the weight and dividing with the weight only, rather than dividing with the number of commodities. As you can see here, I have been given with these commodities: price of base, price of current. I'm finding the price relative, multiplying with the given weight. As I told you, if the weight is not given, then P0 Q0 is taken as weight, and thereafter I am adding up sigma RW and dividing with the sum of weight in order to get the weighted average of price relative. So I am summing up. There are in all two methods, that is unweighted, weighted. In the case of unweighted, we have simple aggregate. Aggregate means total, and simple average of price relative. In the aggregate, we simply add all prices in current year, divide by sum of all prices in base year, multiply with 100. In the simple average of price relative, we first find index number for each commodity by applying the same formula, current year upon base into 100, add all the price relatives, divide with the number of commodities. Coming to weighted, again we have aggregate and we have average. In aggregate, I have Laspierre's Pastures value. In the case of Laspierre's, I multiply prices with quantity of current year as weight, multiply with 100. In the case of Pasture, I multiply prices with quantity of current year, and in the case of value, I take quantity of current year as base of price of current year, and quantity of base year as price of base year, multiply with 100. In the simple average, I take price relative. For each, multiply it with weight, divide it with the sum of weight to get the answer. So in all, there are two formulas here and four formulas here that are to be done, and all these formulas are based on a common formula, that is current upon base into 100. Thank you.